Are you ready to learn about 6 new people that you should start following in the new year? Well, get ready because it's time.
You're listening to the Church Digital Sidekick Podcast, part of the TCD Podcast Network.
Hey heroes, my name is Tom Pounder and this is the Church Digital Sidekick Podcast. This is the podcast where ministry leaders come on and talk about different things that are happening around the world, tips or tools or digital stuff or online stuff that are happening around the world, and we look to apply it into our ministry context. And today we're going to do things a little bit differently. This is something I like to do every single year. I like to highlight 6 new people every year that you should start following on social media. See, social media is so great, and I mean, it's got its bad points too, but it's so great that you can learn from so many other people. And I think that we get caught up in our own little bubble sometimes, and we don't look to see who else is out there that we should be following and learning from. And what I've learned over the years is that there's so many great people out there that we may not know about. So I like to highlight 6 new people that are actively involved in ministry or church communications or like student stuff, children's stuff, or stuff that we can learn from and apply it into our ministry context. In the years past, I've been doing this for a number of years. In years past, I've highlighted people like Ben Stapley, Dave Adamson, Jeff Reed, who I'm working with right now at the Church Digital, Katie Allred, Jeanette Yates, Seth Muse. I've highlighted a number of people that I think are really worth your following. And if you want to go find those people, just check the show notes. I've got links to all the past previous years, because there's just a lot of great people that we can be learning from and apply it into our ministry context. And so I'm going to highlight 6 new people in random order. There's no particular order to this, but I'm going to highlight 6 new people that I think you should be following in 2022. Now, before I get into it, I do want to highlight just one of the things that I really look for when I'm looking for people to follow is that one is that they're producing content, but more importantly, that they're producing content consistently. It doesn't have to be a blog or a podcast in particular, but it could be just something that they share on social media. Maybe they're a part of a Facebook group that they're sharing consistently on and that they're involved in, and they're really encouraging other people. The other thing is, I don't like arrogant people. I'm sorry. I don't like people that are just full of themselves and talking down on people. I like people who are real helpers and who are looking to serve the big church here and improve how we can do ministry more effectively in this very digital and online world. So consistency matters, who you are matters, and just being able to be a friendly face. And again, it has to fit into the framework of student ministry, family ministry, church communications, social media, online ministry. It has to fit into that framework that I really want to highlight. Okay, so are you ready to begin? Here are 6 people that I believe that you should start following in the new year. The first person that I feel like you should follow this year is Tyler Volkers. Tyler is the online pastor at the Ridge Community Church, and he does a fantastic job of online ministry. And again, if you look at his podcast that we did a few weeks ago, you can see his story. But what I love about Tyler is that he's always engaging, always contributing, always encouraging. And he's just got a wealth of ministry experience. And again, he's always willing to interact with you on social media. In fact, I met him during the pandemic. I think it was a Clubhouse that we met. Do you remember Clubhouse? I still remember Clubhouse. But he and I met on a Clubhouse, and then we translated that into Twitter and started following each other on Twitter. He's really active on Twitter. He's really encouraging on that. So if you're an online minister and you're looking for other people to connect with who are doing online ministry, Tyler is a great person. He's so helpful, he's so friendly, and so encouraging. So connect with him now. I've got his links for his Twitter profile on there. Get on Twitter and connect with him today. The second person you should connect with is Angela Craig. Angela lives all the way out on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. I've always been on the East Coast. But Angela's on the West Coast. And actually, one thing I discovered about Angela when I had her on my podcast and through my connection with Jeff Reed is that she was one of the first people to start online church. She started a Facebook group called Pursuit Church Live, and it was the first social media church in the Assemblies of God Fellowship. And this was even before the pandemic. This was years before the pandemic. She was ministering to people online. She's got a fantastic Facebook group that you should check out. She's got a great website where she's offering tons of resources. And she's just great to connect with on social media. So if you're looking for someone to really give you encouragement, if you're looking for another Facebook group to be a part of, to really encourage you with online ministry, Angela is fantastic. She's extremely helpful, very friendly, and a great person to connect with. She's got lots of experience too. So connect with Angela Craig. The third person is actually a group. Okay, it's called Church Juice. Now, I've been following Church Juice for a number of years, and they've got a great website, church.digital. But what I love about Church Juice is that they're geared towards church communicators, and they're offering great insights. And they have a blog on their website, but more importantly, I love listening to their podcast. Their podcast is hosted by Brian Haley and Jeanette Yates, and I love Jeanette. Jeanette's been on the podcast numerous times. I could actually have Brian on the podcast, but they've been on the podcast numerous times, and they're just a great interaction back and forth. They do a quick 30-minute podcast on a church communication tip, and that it really encourages you in this very online world that we're living in. So Church Juice has a great website, great blog and podcast that I really feel like you should check out, especially if you're in church communications, because it gives you great insights in a short amount of time that you can listen to on a walk, on a run, or whatever you do, just getting out and about. So follow the Church Juice. The fourth one is another group. It's called Altar Live. I don't know if you've heard about Altar Live, but until 2020, I didn't even hear about Altar Live. But Altar Live actually started during the pandemic with Stephanie and a team of people, and they got together and they thought, how can we take the great aspects of church online? How can we take Zoom and combine it together to build really authentic relationships? And they created Altar Live during the pandemic to help churches. And they're really doing a great job of helping churches. Again, they have a great website that you can check out all their stuff, the products they got. Again, there is a fee for their products, but it's really worth it. And if you're a church planner, I do believe they're offering a special deal for church planners for your first year. But again, they take the elements of church online, they take Zoom and combine it into one platform, one simple platform. And they offer encouragement with their blogs. They are very active on social media. They do tutorials on social media, and they do other things as well. They give really great encouragement. And all the time, they're adding new features to their products. And so I think that it's a great group to try out because, one, it's a great product, but then two, they offer great encouragement for you and for your ministry while you're doing online stuff. So follow Altar Live today. The fifth person that you should follow, I'm going back to people now, is Robert Carnes. Robert's a friend of mine that I met while he was working for Orange, but now he's really into marketing. Well, he's always been into marketing and digital stuff, but he is really engaged in learning how to market and help equip people to learn marketing trends and marketing tools and really apply it into your context. But here's the deal that I love about Robert, is Robert, I want to say he's kind of old school. He is a huge reader. We talked about how reading can help you learn. He's a huge reader, and he's really into just telling stories. And I think there's the lost art of storytelling, and he's really developed this book. I highlighted on our podcast. He's been on my podcast a few different times, but he talks about the original storytelling, who's Jesus, and what we can learn from Jesus. So I would encourage you to check out that book. But he's really offering insights on how we can communicate the amazing story of Christ. And he's working on some other things as well that I'm really excited about. But Robert is a great follow. He loves to talk about cultural stuff, but he loves to talk about marketing stuff. He's very active on Twitter. And even though we have a different opinion about Bruce Springsteen's Blinded by the Light, he likes the cover song. I like the original. But even though we have a different, he's a great person that I would strongly encourage you to follow. Again, talk about marketing stuff, talk about digital stuff, and talk about storytelling, about how we can communicate more effectively in this very digital world. And so Robert is someone you definitely want to check out and follow today. And lastly, this is a group of people, okay? This is a little bit different, but this is a group of people. But I think it's really important as we move into the new year is that I want to encourage you to follow the VR ministry leaders. Okay, we've highlighted before, especially on the Church Digital, but we've highlighted before about DJ Soto, we've highlighted about Jate, we've highlighted other people, but there are a lot of other people who are now investing time and energy into VR. There's people like PastorBrock that Jeff Reed interviewed on his podcast, which I'm going to include in the show notes. We've got other people who are really investing time into the metaverse, who are really digging deep and going into it. In VR, maybe it's not in your scope right now, but people are highlighting this more and more. Apple is investing millions of dollars onto it. Amazon's investing into it. We already know about Meta investing into it. Lots of companies are investing in it. Lots of people are getting into it. People are discovering God today in the metaverse, in the virtual reality world. it's something that we really need to look at as we move into a new year. So I'm going to highlight some VR ministry leaders in the show notes. Definitely click on their links, start following them, start learning from them, because that will help us grow as we move into this new world of digital ministry. All right, so those are the 6 people and groups of people that I feel like you should follow this year. They all offer different insights, but they're all really encouraging, they're all really helpful, and they're all offering consistent stuff where it's going to encourage us in our ministry. So if you're looking for 6 new people to follow, I would strongly encourage you to follow them. But I'm also looking for more people to follow. I want to follow more people every single year. So if you've got someone that you follow, put it in the show notes or hit me up on Twitter and tell me who I should start following. My Twitter handle is @TA_Pounder. All right, heroes, well, that wraps it up for another episode of the Church Digital Sidekick podcast. As always, I'm so excited that you're following me. If you want to give me a review, that would be great. But make sure you subscribe to this. This is on iTunes, Spotify. This is on YouTube. Love to follow me on this because I'm offering more content all the time on theChurch.digital. But here's the cool thing. This new year is going to be awesome. The Church Digital Podcast Network is being launched, and there are so many new voices that are helping us in digital ministry and offering different elements. I focus on something. Jeff Reed focuses on something else. Other people. There are other voices that are being added to the Church Digital Podcast Network that you really want to check out. So if you've not gone to the Church.digital, go there today, learn more about this podcast network that's being launched this year, and learn more about digital ministry and how we can apply it into our ministry context. That's what we want to do here, and this is what I'm really excited to do throughout the year here. So I'm going to continue to bring on ministry leaders starting next week with a whole new interview with a ministry leader about how we can learn digital tools and trends and apply it into our ministry context so that we can reach more people for Christ. That is the ultimate goal, and that's the ultimate goal of the Church Digital and the Church Digital Podcast Network. All right, heroes, well, I hope you have a great rest of your day or a great rest of your week. And until next time, have a great one.